What's up, you guys? Welcome back into iHeartRadio's official wrestling podcast, the Battleground podcast. I am joined by my tag team partner, Eli, and man, there is so many things going on during WrestleMania week, but the thing that a lot of people are going to, not WrestleMania, I know there's going to be a lot of people there, but the thing that we're going to, that we're excited about, is WrestleCon, where you get to get up close and personal with some of your favorite wrestlers and divas and everything in between. And joining us today, somebody who is going to be at WrestleCon, who you're going to meet. Maybe she'll hit you with a kendo stick. Give it up for Jasmine St. joining the show. How are you?
Thank you for having me. And yes, maybe if someone's lucky, I'll beat them with the kendo stick, possibly.
I bet you that comes with a higher price tag too. I think you got to pay extra for that, right?
I think so, yeah. I mean, but there are times when we've worked with people who wanted me to hit them harder, and then I say to myself, "Wait, what do you do in your spare time?"
Right. You're like, I don't know if I want to do that, and it's not worth the money to hit you that because, yeah, I'm not going to do that. But let's kind of dive into it. We're going to talk all things wrestling, all things WrestleCon, and you know, one thing you had a very well known and acclaimed profession. Before you got into wrestling, what inspired you to make the jump to the world of professional wrestling?
Well, I grew up watching wrestling on TV. So I grew up watching like Miss Elizabeth, Sherry Martel, and later on I enjoyed watching women's work. Nancy Sullivan, she's one of my favorites. Then, you know, it was an opportunity where Rob Black was doing something with ECW with Paul Heyman. Like, I don't know what they had planned, but they brought me in for a pay-per-view, and I just wanted to go back. You know, there was no place for me after dealing with, you know, low rent people, and you know, those those movies. Am I allowed to say adult films? Yeah,
if people haven't figured out what we're talking about now, then they obviously don't know.
It's grown-up movies. That's it.
I had better things to do with my time, and I really loved training because I was trained to wrestle originally, but because of my size, I was always used as a manager, and I'm totally fine with that. So yeah, it was just a great jump, and I quit working for Rob completely, and I just went over to ECW, and I was working with Jerry Lawler at that time as well, who was a lot of fun to train with, like Steven Regal and those guys.
Yeah. Well, I'll plug this real quick. I plug it on every other show. So I'm from Jackson, Tennessee. So Memphis wrestling is like a mecca for me. Yeah. So when you say Jerry Lawler, I've watched more matches of his than I can remember. So yeah, that's just want to chime in on that. So speaking of ECW, you know, they were an independent wrestling company, but they obviously changed the world. We're still talking about them today. Not a lot of people get to, you know, not only be on screen and in the ring and stuff like that, but be behind the curtains too. What was the atmosphere like during your time with ECW, not only inside the ring with the crowd, but also behind the scenes?
That's a great question. So I feel as though behind the scenes, first of all, let's go there. It was very supportive. It reminds me very much of what JCW, Juggalo Championship Wrestling, is behind the scenes. And I'm not just saying that because I work there, but that's really the truth. People help people. People are really nice to one another. Everyone wanted everyone else to succeed. So that's one thing I noticed in ECW. And everyone was just very authentic.
Right.
So I believe one of the reasons we did stand out, and I hope I'm not digressing too much, is because everyone was their authentic self. So yes, New Jack was gangster. So he was being gangster in the ring times 50. Sandman is a brawler that will, you know, have beers with you times that in the ring, you know, times 50. So it just made it very unique. Like nobody felt fake or unauthentic, right? In the ring, I think the fans were the best. They were very passionate. They were very appreciative of stuff going on. And it really built up the adrenaline because everyone just interacted with everyone ringside and people were there to watch the show. So it's great. It was a great thing. Could it ever be recreated? I don't know, but I feel as though it's something, it was sex and violence, and that's what sold.
Right.
Whether or not in today's temperature, people are too afraid to do that, but I think it's a formula for success.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, kind of staying there with the whole ECW thing, you know, once you got behind the curtain and you talked about how you started training as wrestling and that was a thing, what was the toughest part of training to enter the world of professional wrestling?
the unexpected. You don't know what's going to happen if you're prepared to protect yourself. I have this rule of thumb: every manager should always be trained properly, so what's going on in the ring. Where your spots are. You know how to protect yourself. It was crazy. I was trained by Mondo Guerrero and Sue Sexton, who worked for Glow at one point. Yeah, great people. And going to Memphis and training there, working with Steve Regal, and who are those other two? They used to suplex me. Bull Payne and those guys. It was, it was very different. Like, you're just not sure what's going to happen, but you just got to do it, right? And hope for the best.
Right. We always ask that question because some people will be super athletic and they're like, well, my struggle was promos, or some people can talk, but they're like, that first bump knocked the wind out of, so we always like to ask that one.
I would think like I was always athletic growing up, so nothing came as a shock except Nicole Bass, who choke slammed me, and I specifically told her, let me take my own bump. Do not drive me into the mat. And she did the opposite of what she was told. Rest her soul. But I just wasn't sure, like, if I was being set up to fail or succeed. So, I'm here 26 years later. So whatever the formula was, it worked for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Recently former WWE champ Big E was asked about various things about wrestling, and he, paraphrasing here, he was quoted saying he'd rather get hit with a chair or go through a table than get hit with a kendo stick. Why do you think the kendo stick has kind of become almost like the symbol for hardcore wrestling? Like, why do you think that's been so popular kind of as a result? I think really because of ECW.
Yeah, because of Sandman, obviously. And
It's
so unusual. I've used it for the past 2.5 years upon my last return to XPW. I use it on some shows, but that's if you could really hurt someone with that. If you don't loosen it the right way, if you don't like them, I guess things happen. I think it's because Sandman brought it out, and that's why it's associated with hardcore wrestling. And no other company really used it then either. I don't think WWE, none of those companies did.
Right.
No.
And I think that's another thing. I think people don't realize that stuff's gimmicked, and they kind of think, oh, it's a kendo stick. Well, it's a weapon though. Like, you can do some damage with that thing.
Yeah, I mean, you can't exactly go walking around the street with it because it's from a martial arts store. Oh, I'm going to go train. Yeah, right. Then whack.
Right.
Yeah, it's wild. I went to a wrestling show, and I took my youngest kid with me, and they had a kendo stick there, and they let him. One of the guys handed it to him, and my kid got to hit him with it, and he's like, "That's awesome!" And I had to explain to him, I was like, "That's a real kendo stick, and that's why they let you do it compared to letting me just go full on King Griffey Jr. swing at it." But he's getting into wrestling, and he's kind of figuring things out. But something that we've noticed here, and
do you think there's room in the modern landscape for a American women's wrestling, in the sense of like how the Joshi promotions are overseas? It's really sport based and it's athletic based, and it's going to be, kind of left center of what we see like on WWE and some, modern wrestling programs.
Yeah, I think there's room for it. It's possible. I mean, I actually, no, let me take that back. I think if there was room for it, it would have been done already.
Exactly.
I don't know what the ratings are overseas on these things. I have no idea. We're not saying that the American market is misogynistic or backwards. It's just the way it is.
Right.
And you have great women wrestlers that are out there, and you have lousy ones. Some of the greats, Lisa Marie Varon, Lisa Marie, then you had Medusa, people like that. But nowadays, it's too much. And if you want to watch it like all women's, then form your own league or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, let's talk about the big events. WrestleCon taking place April 17th through the 20th at the Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino. Tickets available at WrestleCon.com/Vegas is where I went. I think so. Yes. So for those who don't know, maybe give us a little explanation of what this is, maybe a little history, and then, specifically how you got involved with WrestleCon.
Well, It's been around for a while. They usually have it every weekend when there's WrestleMania, but I think this year they expanded. They had it and last year, so they had it in Indiana. They're doing one around the time of SummerSlam in New Jersey. But the Vegas one is the biggest one. It's the same weekend of WrestleMania, so a lot of people are coming in for that show already. It's fans from all over the world. It's very packed. I got started just signing there. And that was always fun because you get to meet everyone and you also get to see, your friends and make new friends. That's how I got guests for like my podcast a lot of the time. Last year was the very crazy one in Philly because that's the whole Cadbury Easter egg incident that was at the hotel bar. I don't know if you guys heard about that, but it was really messed up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't have to rehash.
Yeah. It's okay though. It's funny. So maybe the Cadbury guy will be there this year. This year was really different for me. I work with Big Japan Wrestling sometimes. Madman Pondo brought me there, and I was managing him and Necro Butcher. So I was there last year, and there's a person that I do business with now and again who said, "Hey, I wonder if we could get Muta, the great Muta." So I really didn't think it would happen, but I forgot. I actually used to run a wrestling company called 3PW. That was my company. Nizawa worked with me. Right. Nizawa is a great person, by the way. So he used to work for Muta. I'm like, what are the chances this will happen? I highly doubt it. So we're sitting at Ribera Steakhouse. I'm getting my jacket, eating. And then we got a text from Nizawa, meet Muta at this time. It's like, okay. It was like 3 freaking trains to get there. There was a taxi somewhere involved. And I'm like, we met up with Nizawa. I'm like, where are you taking us? This does not feel normal. Next thing, we get up at the final train stop. We're going up a hill. I'm just thinking the worst possible scenario, but it was a small restaurant. So I met with him and his wife, and we worked out a deal to bring him in. And I'm excited because he's one of the greats. He's a Hall of Famer. Pre-sales have been great. I've also realized I've had friends that never really existed, but all of a sudden are popping up left and right, asking for this or that. It's like, I'm sorry, when was the last time we actually spoke? No.
Right.
But I'm excited to bring in a guest like that. And if this goes well, there'll be SummerSlam, and I have a few things up my sleeve. So I'll sign stuff, but not till Sunday. I want to see how this goes for both dates. And, we've been getting bombarded with privates for him. So that's another thing. It's been exhausting because it's so much going back and forth, getting photos printed. I don't think people really know what goes into it when vendors come out to set up tables. You're getting merchandise printed. You're trying to get in at the same time that your guests do. You're trying to work out the logistics of setting up the booth and having everything ready the next morning. But what I really like about this year is the pro photo ops. So Muta will be there with Sting as well. And that was the perfect opportunity that WrestleCon brought my way. It was, hey, Sting's going to be here. Do you think Muta would be interested? Of course. I think that's perfect. There'll be people who've never met him. But when you come to the table, it's more than just autographs. It's an experience. You get the photo ops or autographs that you get from him. Plus, I have little gift bags for people with little Muta things in there. There'll be dolls and trading cards. I didn't know he had trading cards, but someone made some a few years ago.
Wow.
But it's a long day, and people just can't take it all in one day. You want to go all 3 days, and I have Friday and Saturday. Saturday night I work a show. There are like a zillion shows to go to, but I'm working for JCW at the Neonopolis at midnight, which will be interesting.
Nice. You can we'll spare you going through our back catalog, but you can ask Battle. Muta is one of my top 10, maybe top 5 of all time.
No, let me be honest. It is Eli's top 1.
It goes between him and Sting. I go back between them a lot. So I don't even know what to say that I'm meeting Great Muta.
Get your photos. I know you guys have belts being signed, but just come by and get a photo on me as a gift. I think you'll have a fun time. Just don't sweat and get crazy or anything like that.
Yeah, when I get starstruck, it's just this. I'm just silent.
Eli's very silent. When we did a thing with Sting, and Eli just said, "Hey, took the photo," and then walked away.
Yeah.
That was it.
And coincidentally, I was wearing my Great Muta shirt when I met Sting. So, yeah. Anyways,
well, you mentioned that you're going to be also signing as well, and this is kind of one of these things where you think about it, because I'm sure that people have brought some things for you to sign that you're like, what is this?
Yeah.
What's the craziest, wildest thing somebody's brought to you to sign?
Well, there are a few things. We'll start with a guy that had a vial of his own blood.
And he wanted you to sign it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Some guy, yeah. I mean, there are things I know. Once I lost a shoe ringside, someone found it and brought it to me to show, but didn't want to give it back to me, but wanted me to sign it, and it was this whole argument over a shoe.
Yeah.
We're standing there as two adults. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? I'm arguing with you over a shoe. Okay, here, I'll sign it, but this is how much I want, because they don't make those anymore.
Yeah.
They're like a cheap pair of throwaway shoes, because when you're in the ring, you're in the ring, and that matches blood all over the shoes, glass. And I think that's what it was, all the blood and glass that was stuck to the bottom of a shoe that I lost at a show once. But I think the vial is really the craziest thing. It's just, it takes a very unique sort of person to do that.
Yeah.
I couldn't even imagine what's going through your mind when you look at it and you're like, oh, what's this? And you start to sign it and he's like, it's my blood. And you're like, cool. Go on.
No, I signed it. I charge him like, have a good day. In the back of my mind, I'm thinking this guy has like dead bodies in his closet, and that's probably someone else's blood from his last victim, more than likely. I could be wrong. I'm not being judgmental. This is why I really think, working with somewhere like JCW, the fans are a little bit more mild. Yeah, they're juggalos and juggalettes, and they have a pretty hot crowd of fans that really love wrestling. And I think Violent J has a love for the business as well, which is it's a big deal. To be around this type of thing, you really have to have a love for it. To bring in, guests, you have to have a love for the business as well.
Absolutely.
I'm excited. Like I never thought about doing this before, but maybe it's like a whole other business venture. So who knows where it goes?
It's definitely if you build it, they will come. I mean, the first one I went to was in 2018, and literally the best wrestling I saw was not at WrestleMania. It was the indie shows. It was the signings, meeting all the wrestlers and stuff. I mean, that's all I talk about from that trip, really, is some of the matches that I saw from there, and all that kind of stuff. So it's just this whole little ecosystem builds up around it, and it's incredible. It's just such a fun event.
It's nice. It's really lovely, and that's like you said, it's an experience. You're buying. You're not buying just a photo; it's a whole experience. So that means don't walk off when you see Muta. Don't say hey and just go.
Right. I'll do my best.
You're like, please, missed me right now.
Yeah. Now I'm starting to get shaky. So let's call it back. So speaking of signings and stuff, have you thought about a second edition of your book?
See, there was never really a first edition. That guy is like a known liar who bought photos from someone that I'd signed off the rights to. Okay. So there's like, he built up things from articles and stuff, but there'll be a first edition of the book. I never really thought about it because I just don't care about shit like that. It's the strangest thing though. You have people out there that want a book so bad. I want a book. Well, I don't want to fucking read about your life. I'd much rather live a life and do cool stuff and not get caught up in doing a book. But if maybe, I don't know. I don't know. It just seems like so time consuming. I had a one-woman show prior to the pandemic that was doing really well. So I don't know if you know who Don Jameson is, that metal show, and he's a comic.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
So I just, we're actually emailing this morning. So he's helping me rewrite parts of it. So I'll do that again. And maybe there'll be a book from that.
I could piggyback off that. Yeah. That'd be awesome.
Well, the name of the show is A Weird Kind of Fame. So when I did the workshop performances, there were 50 minutes because they were all at Second City because I took improv there and did their whole conservatory program. So that's fine. But I think for something like bigger shows, it's got to be at least an hour and 15. I'm not going to do like Mike Tyson length. He was like 2 hours at his show. I couldn't like stomach it at one point because I'm like, man, I'm just sitting here. I had to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was a good show. I liked his show a lot. It was simplistic. Everything was in the story.
But there's a limit for your audience. I mean, there's a sweet spot. So
yeah, I'm excited though. So if I do the book, it won't be for another 10 years, and I'm not doing it on my own. I'd want someone. I need a ghostwriter.
Yeah.
No, I don't. I want it, but I want someone to help me.
Well, by the time you're ready, I mean, you'll have even more stories to put out and stuff. So, I mean, coming from the source itself, I think that's going to be a much better situation than what's out there now.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't even read that trash out there. I hope his dick falls off or something.
Cross our fingers.
Well, I know that there's a lot of things going on for you. You've still got some things to plan for WrestleCon and everything. But before we let you go, we kind of want to know, with your time being in ECW, if you have one, do you have like a funny Paul Heyman story that you could share with us?
Oh, sure. There are a couple. I think the best one was 5 minutes before or 10 minutes before going out to the ring. He's describing this pile driver off of the top rope. And like right after, he's like, so do you feel comfortable doing that? I'm like, yeah, okay, sure. It's just a very funny way to approach someone.
Yeah, that is.
Then he had me going on this whole thing with Screen Actors Guild. And then it's just, he worded the lettering differently. Well, no, it's not SAG, it's AFAG. I'm like, huh? Mm-hmm. So he had me going on this whole thing once, but I mean, for the most part, I kept it very professional with him, and he was always really nice. But that was, I think that story sticks out in my brain for a while.
Nice.
Because so many things could have gone wrong that night. Those
right.
nights.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Jasmine, we don't want to take up too much of your time. I know you still got more things to plan for WrestleCon, but before we let you let you go, anything you want to say to people that are watching or listening to this right now?
Yeah, come out to WrestleCon. It's a wonderful experience for everyone. I feel as though there's something for everyone there. Support indies and so forth. Check out JCW Lunacy. We're on YouTube now. We have some TV stuff we're working on, but it's also a great show. It's something for everyone. And make sure you tune into my podcast, Crazy Train Podcast. It's crazy with a K. And, just check me out on my socials, The Real Jasmine St. Clair.